It's movie review time again. Looks like we've got another Kick-Ass movie. Kick-Ass 2 is coming out to the theaters, so people have been asking me again, superhero other than Kick-Ass 2 and Kick-Ass 1, what are other movies about real-life superheroes that I can see? Now, I already did a review of real-life superhero films, and I'll post a link to it down beneath this video so you can watch it as well. I reviewed films like Special, Super, Defendor, The Phantom. For me, a real-life superhero movie has to meet three criteria. World with no superpowers. Guy dresses up like a superhero anyway. Guy goes over in the end as a superhero. Okay, now that we've established that. While I was doing the last review of real-life superhero movies that I didn't include a film called Franklyn that was made in England. And somebody asked me below in the comments, they were like, oh, well, superhero, could you review Franklyn? Because I feel it meets all the criteria for a real-life superhero movie. So I finally got around to watching it, and yeah, it did. It met all the criteria for a real-life superhero movie. It is about a guy with no powers who dresses up as a superhero anyway. If you want to see it without spoilers, shut the video off now, because there's no way I can tell you about the movie without spoilers, because it's so deep and intricate. Okay, shut it off if you're not going to watch? Good, okay. He doesn't go over in the end, but in a way, him not going over in the end makes everybody else go over. So it's kind of a happy, quasi-happy ending to a very gothic, beautifully done, beautifully edited, beautifully shot. I mean, I saw it on Amazon Prime, and all I could think about the whole time was, wow, I wish I could see this on a big screen. Because if you're into all that dark gothic steampunk imagery, Franklyn is definitely the movie for you. I mean, the cityscapes and everything like that blow away anything that have been in the last three Batman movies. If that's your bag, you need to see Franklyn just for that. But anyways, Franklyn is about this guy who dresses up in kind of a Rorschach-style gimmick, and he lives in a place called Meanwhile City, where you have to have religion in order to live there, or it's illegal to live there. And people find loopholes in the law in order to live there, which are just hilarious. Like some people make a religion all around washing machine instructions, and you'll see a preacher on the street going, always remember to check the garment instructions, and everyone around goes, amen, and everything like that. Or they've got a group of women called the Seventh-Day Manicurists. I'm still laughing about that one. And all they do is sit around and do each other's nails. But technically they're part of a religion, so the law leaves them alone. And the law is this creepy bunch of guys that runs around in top hats and enforces the religious law in this city. But anyway, the character's name, although the movie's called Franklyn, the name of the character is Priest. And although he has no religion, he's called Priest. He gets asked by the religious police to go knock off this cult leader. And as it turns out, the cult leader knocked off this 13-year-old or 16-year-old girl that Priest liked. So he has no problem with going out and putting a bullet in this guy's head. So he does the whole Mickey Spillane thing of going around the city and, you know, whacking people for information and everything like that. The problem is, while all this is going on in Meanwhile City, there's also the real world happening. Like, you've got the real world happening while what's happening in Meanwhile City is going on. And what's Meanwhile City's goings on, pardon me, are beautiful and exciting and everything like that. You have this mundane real world going on too, where this girl does suicidal art and sells it. She like literally tries to kill herself, but calls it in before she dies, and the police revive her and all that. There's a guy looking for his lost son, everything like that. But anyways, all these people are on a collision course at the climax of the movie. And what ends up happening at the end, once again, like I said, spoiler alert, so if you don't want to know, you shut the video off a while ago and went and looked at cat videos or something. But anyway, it turns out that Priest is actually living in the real world too. And he is devolving, he's going nuts, he's going crazy, and he's just running around London beating the crap out of people and looking for information on a person that doesn't exist. And the end of the movie is very exciting and very climactic, and I don't really regard it as a real live superhero movie, but sadly or scary enough, I regard it as a film that could happen to a member of the real life superhero community, and as a matter of fact, I'm surprised it hasn't happened to a member of the real life superhero community over time, because we draw a very strange lot of people. Anybody that wants to be a costumed activist of any kind isn't exactly normal by any stretch of the imagination anyway. So it could be a real life superhero movie. I definitely would say that. Franklyn could be a definitive real life superhero movie, but I saw it more as something that unfortunately could happen to a real life superhero, not the story of a real life superhero. If you've already seen Franklyn, if you agree with me or not, leave your comments below and let me know, because I'm curious if you agree with me or not. If you haven't seen Franklyn, by all means do so. Yeah, I think that's about it for Franklyn. Another thing I wanted to cover briefly, since Kick-Ass 2 is coming out, I already read Joe Bellicastro's review, since he's seen the film already, and he said it's not quite as action-packed as the first one, because you have a lot more characters thrown in there, probably to sell action figures and marketing. But other than that, he found it very enjoyable and thought it was the best film he saw this summer. I remember when the first one came out, everybody raised a huge stink thinking, oh my God, we're going to have all these noobs, these 12-year-old kids that are going to put on a cape and grab a broomstick. You know, they're going to like make a cape out of their bed sheets and grab a broomstick and run outside and, you know, get killed by a mugger or hang themselves accidentally jumping out of a tree and stuff like that. And it just didn't happen. I can already see where there's members of the real-life superhero community that are flipping out because, you know, they're thinking that's what's going to happen. But it didn't happen with the first film, so I'm predicting that it won't happen with this one either. The reason being that the books that the films were based on are so dark. But the films are so light and humorous and don't take themselves seriously that I don't think anybody in real life takes them that seriously either. So, by all means, see Franklyn, and looking forward to seeing Kick-Ass 2. Stay super.